Well, look who's here, the former chief speechwriter for George W. Bush. He's Wall Street Journal columnist. He's Bill McGurn. We have Wall Street pro and author Carol Roth. Okay, first to you, Bill. The Wall Street Journal reports former President Obama is worried that Biden will lose and will not be able to stop Donald Trump. The Washington Post reports the president is angry and is blaming his team. But, Bill, he just hit another new low of 34% in a new Monmouth poll. Voters seem to be saying, you know who's to blame? Joe Biden. Look in the mirror.
Yeah, I think Joe Biden should say to his predecessor, or say to President Obama, come on, man, you're reading the wrong polls. It seems that everyone in the Democratic Party is reading the wrong polls instead of whatever mythical polls that Joe Biden believes are showing him way out in front.
Yeah, to what Bill is saying, that's been the president's narrative. I mean, the Post reports, Carol, that behind the scenes, Biden is complaining that his economic message is not stopping his plunging poll numbers. Jill Biden and Joe Biden are telling aides and friends they're frustrated. Democrat pollster Stanley Greenberg, Carol, says he's losing ground every month. But out in public, the president keeps blaming the polls. What do you think?
I think that his presidency is the sequel to the good, the bad, and the ugly, but with very little good and lots of bad and ugly. Look, no matter what he wants to think, people know the reality of the situation. Certainly the economy is at the forefront, but we have the immigration invasion and issue that's going on at the border. We have weakness on the international stage. We have broken promises. We have all of the circus that's going on with his family. So it doesn't matter what his policies are. He has done nothing to fix them for the American people. And people look and say, was my life better 4 years ago than it is today? And, you know, absent the abnormalcy that we saw with COVID, I think most people think that under the Trump presidency, they had a better overall quality of life than they do with President Biden.
So, Bill, coming back to you, given what Carol just said, you're going to see the president, as you pointed out, he's going to blame reporters, blame the polls. And let's watch former President Trump in action. Watch this.
Mr. President, why are you losing to Trump in the polls?
He is a laughing stock all over the world. Crooked Joe is a low IQ individual. The next economic boom will begin the instant the world knows that Crooked Joe Biden is gone and Donald J. Trump has won 4 more years as president of the United States. This will be a historic victory. By Christmas of next year, the economy will be roaring back. Energy prices will be plummeting. The hordes of people charging across our border will have ended. The invasion of our country will have stopped.
Okay, that's the former president TikToking the issues. Bill, the president keeps saying you've got the wrong polls. What polls is he talking about? Because we see the polls out of Pew, out of Gallup, out of Monmouth, out of Emerson College, out of the Associated Press, out of NBC, out of CBS, out of AP, NORC, that the president is hitting record lows month after month. I mean, how much further can he go? Bill, it used to be that if you're in the 40s, that's the danger zone for an incumbent. He's now moving toward the 20s.
Yeah, I agree with what Carol said about its policies, but I'd go further. I think implicit in the White House message is that if you don't believe Bidenomics has made your life great or the border's in control, you're just not smart enough to appreciate all the good things Joe Biden is doing. They have this condescending tone, and other Democrats realize it. You know, I'll give you a counterexample. When I was in the White House during the lows, it was very clear why. We were losing in Iraq and people are getting killed to no purpose. What did President Bush do? He didn't whine to us privately. The polls are mean to me. They're unfair. You staffers are the problem. He changed his policy to a winning strategy in Iraq. That's when things he tied it to substance. And Joe Biden is unwilling to do this. And on top of everything, you add that he looks old, he mumbles, and people don't think he's up to the job of standing up to Putin, Xi Jinping, or whoever.
Yeah, Carol, what do you think of what Bill just said? He just put it together so well, and you've been doing a great job here too. You see the Teamsters, not really the unions, including the International Firefighters Association. The unions are not really stepping up for Biden either. Carol, final word.
Yeah, I think Bill said it perfectly. Like, it's bad enough that we have to deal with the fallout from all of these policies. The only thing that makes it worse is the gaslighting. It is insulting. Instead of owning up to the issues and coming up with a plan to change them, to say that it's not happening, people don't want to put up with that anymore. They're frustrated. And so they want to hear something new and that there's a new direction. And doubling down and saying you're the problem, that's not a winning message.
Got it. Bill McGurn, Carol Roth, you two are terrific. Thank you so much. It's good to see you.